when I have a problem pop up, it's my time to go, well, this is where I earn my value.
Yeah.
What does not need to be happening so that I can do these really important things?
Right. What can you eliminate?
So every time you are with your client, you are marketing yourself.
Yeah.
You are sitting in front of a human being that has hired you. Is that not the ultimate goal of real estate?
Yeah. Like, you don't have to feel like you're all alone. See, we've lost that person-to-person contact when we e-sign.
Yeah.
Like, in the beginning of my career, we stood at the kitchen counter in the house we wanted to buy, and we wrote a purchase agreement.
With a pen.
With a pen. I brought it in my little paper folder, and I wrote it with a pen. Hi, Alyssa.
Hey, Katie.
Welcome to episode 272, High-Touch Ideas That You're Missing.
Yeah.
And we're going to also partner this up with a little closing gift talk.
Awesome.
So all about the high-touch things you can do for your clients.
I had some thoughts about this, okay?
I can't wait.
We spend a lot of episodes telling people like how to get business, how to run your business, systems, and things like that. Now, speaking as someone who is established and does repeat and referral business pretty much only at this point.
Yeah.
The things we're going to talk about today are things that I want to focus on almost solely.
Oh, exclusively.
Like if you have the referrals coming, I'm at a point where I'm not necessarily soliciting.
Yeah, your train is on the tracks.
My train is on the tracks.
The people keep asking to get on.
The people come, and now I'm at a point where to serve them well.
You want to make it a luxury train.
Yeah. But I can only do that if I'm not overburdening myself with all this other stuff.
Yeah, looking for more people.
Correct.
To put on the train.
I'm not looking for more people. That being said, whether you are brand new doing your first transaction or well established, the things we're going to talk about today are amazing ideas.
Yeah. And the most important thing you can do is treat even just your one client so well that they have to refer you.
Yes. I almost feel like this episode is amazing if you're like working one deal at a time.
Yeah, because you can really take it to the next level.
Or if you're working like 10 plus at a time. I mean, it's good for anybody.
Yeah.
But I do think if you're still on the real estate roller coaster of having to hustle so much to get the business, that sometimes when you get the business, you're like, yay, I got someone. Throw them over here. Okay, let's go get more business.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
Right.
Don't just
or
throw
you're just
them
so
over
burned
here.
out from working so hard to get them that you're like,
yeah.
Okay, I could take a break. Like, I don't need to work so hard.
Right. But it's like, once you get the client, now is your moment
to shine.
This is your moment that's going to determine if you get referrals from this client.
And definitely repeat business.
And if they call you back one day.
Okay, so let's first start with what a high touch does not mean. We're not saying that you have to spend money.
Yes, no.
This is not required. It does also not mean that providing this great experience for your current client is letting go of your boundaries. So I don't think either of those things are required to provide an excellent experience. You do not have to answer the phone at midnight. You do not have to spend $500 on a closing gift. That's not what we're talking about.
I think that that's an excellent point. And so much of the real estate industry says that to provide high touch and really impress your clients, you're spending money on events, birthday cakes, you're helping them pack and move, you're just all these things that cost money and a lot of time.
Yeah. Not what we're talking about.
Not what we're talking about.
Good news, though. Here we like to give you the actual examples.
Yeah.
So we're not just saying don't do that. Let's just talk about, all right, to me, when I think about high touch, and I've read quite a few articles about this recently, with the big portals, the real estate portals, with AI, with all of this technology that is swirling around real estate, disruption, how are these things going to do your job for you, whatever. At the end of the day, if you want to be a high-touch agent that people are like, I want to work with you, you have to ask yourself, what can I do that a computer cannot?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what literally can I do that a computer can't? And so we have kind of a list of some high-touch thoughts that we wanted to cover. Do you want to build a referral-based business rooted in relationships, not cold leads?
Do you want to use social media to connect with your database?
Enter Modern Agent Social Club. Mask is the marketing membership that pairs current content trends with timeless strategies to help you grow your real estate business.
When you join Mask, you'll have instant access to relatable content every single month that's actually fun to implement.
You'll also get a weekly private podcast giving you the creative strategies you need to stay relevant.
Plus, marketing campaigns to grow your email list, email templates to keep you top of mind with your database, and so much more.
And we have great news for you. Mask is now a monthly membership with no contracts, and you can get your first month for half off with our code.
Head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/mask and use the code hustlehumbly to get $50 off your first month. That's hustlehumblypodcast.com/mask, MASC.
Number one would be to be there for your clients and ask them how they're feeling. The computer does not give anything about how do you feel, Mr. Seller? Are you anxious? Are you nervous? How are you feeling, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer? Are you struggling with, meeting all your needs? What are you feeling?
Mm-hmm.
You're good at this. I feel like you always kind of have that sixth sense of when it's time to reach out and be like, hey, how are you feeling?
Sometimes I wish I could turn that sense off.
I know.
Like,
I know.
And I'm usually right. Like, how they say, just call them. I'm sure it's not as bad as you're thinking.
Mm-mm.
If it's gotten to that point where
it's bad.
It's like a disgruntled person, it's right.
Yeah.
They're disgruntled.
Yeah.
But I can usually navigate
But
that.
I think if you're going into the transaction with a high-touch mindset in the front end, you can preemptively ask them how they're doing before it's gotten that bad.
Right.
Or, just kind of, that's the time when you get to gently share the stories of, hey, I had another client that went through this too, and this is what happened. Like, they don't do this every day.
Mm-hmm.
So asking them how they feel is also an opportunity for you to tell them stories, to give them advice, to walk them through the process.
I would also like to say that the time people have been unhappy or frustrated or stressed in general during the real estate process, those are the transactions where I as an agent was able to shine the most.
Yeah.
If I needed to problem solve, if I needed to bring my experience to say, like you said, the last time that I had this happen, this is how it played out. Let's think of the scenarios. So it's almost like when I have a problem pop up, it's my time to go, well, this is where I earn my value.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I think another way to kind of keep that frame of mind is to understand what your client's goals are, not just buy the house, sell the house, but what are their pain points? Why are they moving? Where are they going to? Like, what's going to be difficult for them when they go to list their house? Do they have 4 dogs?
Right.
Is that really tough to get out for? Do they both work out of the house? Like, is this going to be really hard for you to set up showings? Like, understanding where your clients are coming from and where they're trying to go, I think is really important. And you can do things like, hey, I don't know if you're aware of this, but we can set your showing times to be when you get off work at 3. Or if you're a shift worker, we can adjust this to where maybe the showings are only on Friday, Saturday, whatever. Like, they don't know what their options are because they don't do this.
Yeah.
So if you're like, hey, I know that it's going to be tough for you to, like, I just recently had one. A dog that they leave out in the house that they didn't want barking in a kennel the whole time if someone showed. 2, the parents are out of the house working during the day, can't get there to do this. I'm like, well, let's just work it out to where who can get there and at what time. Let's just do the showings then. And it was fine. So I think knowing those types of things, you can do that. The other one on this logistics is always the move.
Oh, yeah.
When they're like, oh, I don't know if we can even buy or sell because I don't know how we're going to do this. We have special situation. We don't know like the logistics of getting from one house to the other in one day. It's like, hey, here are all of your occupancy options. That is, to me, a high touch.
Yeah.
Because other agents just don't even pay attention.
Like, oh, well, let me know what you decide.
You got to be out. Like, here are the other options for you.
I have an example that falls into this category.
Please tell us.
It's not a success example from being able to sell the house. We did not. It was a listing. This might be one of my, like, few that just were approaching expiration. Okay. Could not sell this house. And the guy was so nice. I was actually the second listing agent.
Okay.
The house had flooded and the flood insurance was pretty astronomical.
Right. Okay.
They were moving to Texas. So he calls me in January and the house is pristine. It is so clean. And, we judged a few things, but the condition was excellent. So he tells me, I would really like to get it sold by August.
Okay.
I'm thinking, okay, yeah, we got plenty of time. So that my daughter can start her new school in August in Texas. Ideally, like June, July, so we can move over the summer.
Right.
But definitely by the time school starts.
Okay.
Long story short, we list the house in March. And we can't get anybody that's like qualified, and we're doing different things and all of that. And I realized, it's August 15th. He told, and we've been in communication, but he hasn't mentioned withdrawing or like what the plan. But I'm wondering, we have slashed the price more than I would have ever dreamed we would have to. And the problem is it wasn't doing anything.
Yeah.
So I said, let's get together. We need to talk. And so, because my concern was, we can't do anything to better the condition.
Yeah.
We even shopped for different insurance quotes along the way, and it didn't matter. So I said, I remember you telling me that she needed to start her new school. Am I correct in assuming she has started the new school year at her old school here in Baton Rouge? And he was like, yes. We just had to re-enroll her.
Yeah.
I said, so is it safe to say that the time frame for that has passed us? And he's like, yeah, it has. I said, well, my fear is that we're going to just keep reducing until you have nothing left.
Yeah. What's the point?
The market at this moment is not accepting this house.
Right.
I'm also the second listing agent. So it has a very high day on market because it was not off the MLS for at least 90 days before I listed it. So I was like, how would you feel about taking a break, taking it off the market? Maybe we even list it in the spring of 2025.
Yeah.
And he was like, actually, that's what I would really love to do. I said, well, great. Why didn't, you could have, did you want to talk about that? He said, well, my last agent that I had
wouldn't let him out.
Wouldn't let me out of my listing and got pretty upset when I wanted to withdraw. And you've just like done so much, and I didn't want to do that to you.
I'm like, thank you,
and
sir.
I was like, that's the sweetest thing. But I am here for your best interest.
I serve you.
I serve you.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that if I had not called that meeting,
he would have just kind of suffered.
The house would still be on the market, and we're like almost to October at this point.
Yeah, he would be doing showings he didn't want to do. For offers he wasn't going to take.
For offers that were not going to be good.
Yeah, right.
And so that required listening.
Yeah.
Remembering that, like, because we didn't talk about in March, what happens if it doesn't sell by August?
No, you didn't think that was going to happen.
I never thought that was going to happen. Yeah. So we never had that conversation.
Right.
But I think we gave it a good effort, enough for me to feel comfortable knowing that this is just not.
But let's just take it all back. The high touch here is that you remembered his situation and you reached out to him and was like, hey, how are you feeling? Are you ready to take a break? And he was like, oh my goodness, thank you. So if he does go to list it again, is he going to call a different agent? Probably not. He's going to call you back.
Right. And he said that because he was even like, look, I really appreciate this.
Yeah.
Thank you for not making this awkward. He was like, I will send anybody I know to you.
Perfect.
He felt so bad for me. And I'm like, dude, you're so nice. I hate that we can't sell this house for you. You know, like I wish I could just win the lottery and buy all the houses like this for the nice people that deserve it.
That would be so nice. And our listeners can go back to just an episode or two ago and hear what our thoughts are on how we're going to fix this problem later.
Yes.
Because we talk about this one in When Listings Sit.
We do.
Okay, let's move on to other high touch, ideas. I want you to talk about instead of making your seller fill out like their homeowner info sheet or their PDD or something like this, what do you mean when you want them to, you're going to do it for them?
Well, we can't do it for them.
I can't do the
right?
PDD.
We can't fill out the property disclosure for them. But if you have the time and you are just looking, so every time you are with your client, you are marketing yourself.
Yeah.
You are sitting in front of a human being that has hired you. Is that not the ultimate goal of real estate?
Yeah.
So now that we're at the kitchen table,
right,
and going over everything and have decided to list, you can say, I have brought along this property disclosure. It's a bit tedious. There may be things on here that you're not sure about. Do you want to fill it out together? Mm-hmm. You can start filling it out now. We can read through the questions. This also ensures that nothing is missed.
Right.
So many checkboxes are often left unchecked, or an initial is missing, or they don't know an answer, so they leave it blank.
Yeah.
It's like we know how to tell them where to check their flood zone. We know how to tell them where to check their lot dimensions. Yeah, would it take 30 to 45 minutes to get through an entire property disclosure as well as a homeowner information sheet with all the utilities? Yes. But if you have the time, and this is the type of seller too that may really appreciate the extra hand-holding, you will win them over so much by taking the time to sit there and go through all of that with them.
I also noted you can do that on the phone.
Yes.
Hey, I've sent you the e-sign document for your property disclosure or for your purchase agreement or for whatever. I'm happy to jump on a call and walk you through as you're e-signing.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to feel like you're all alone. See, we've lost that person-to-person contact when we e-sign.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning of my career, we stood at the kitchen counter in the house we wanted to buy, and we wrote a purchase agreement.
With a pen.
Mm-hmm. I brought it in my little paper folder, and I wrote it with a pen. But I can't tell you how much we lost when we lost that behavior, because as I go through it, I know where people get tripped up or what they need to be pointed out or what maybe I'm like, hey, this is where we're filling in something we chose. It just loses a little bit of that in translation. So it's really nice to offer them the, hey, let's jump on a call or a Zoom or whatever. If we're ready to sign this stuff, it's a lot. It's, 8, 9, 10 pages, whatever it is. I can walk you through it.
And when you get these disclosures back, let me tell you, it's even happened to me. If you don't really review them, especially if you're using electronic. So I did not catch that the system had glitched, like the autofill. Oh. And no matter what you chose on is there a tax lien, it always automatically selected yes.
That's unfortunate.
But it didn't do that until you clicked save at the end. So we were realizing that all these PDDs had that checked yes.
For your office?
It was like in the, yes. The way that it was auto-formatted. And it's such a part of the property disclosure that is usually a non-issue.
Right, you don't even,
I'm looking for
skimming. You're skimming.
Yes, I'm skimming the high points.
Yeah.
So ever since that happened, I have been very diligent about doing this. Fair. And even if they don't have the best handwriting, retyping it for them and putting exactly what they wrote and then sending it to them for signature.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's another option too. Like I just had one where they filled it out themselves. Handwriting, not good. And there was a few scratch out and scribbles. So I called him and I said, hey, I retyped your property disclosure just to keep it tidy. I noticed that you did not mention what type of gas is run to the home. Okay, great. Check that off. Okay, here's a few other questions. Okay, now it's coming to you for electronic signature. And then he signed it. And he was like, thank you so much. It looks so much better.
Right.
And I would not have wanted to upload something all scratched and hard to read for other agents.
Presentation is important.
Yeah.
You are selling a product. If it looks like they're messy, it just feels like the house is messy.
Not only should these be called high touches because you are spending more time in communication with your clients, but it's also like micro touches.
Right.
Because this is when you pay attention to these little details, like the condition of the property disclosure. Mm-hmm. Is it legible? Is it filled out correctly? It just presents the whole thing as easy to work with. We want to sell our house.
Right. I like that. Let's talk a little bit about pairing your clients with the right lender that is knowledgeable about their particular situation. Mm-hmm. I would consider this to be a high touch when I am pairing up my clients with a lender or a title office or anyone on my vendor list. Hey, here is a vendor list. To me, very high touch. Also free. Mm-hmm. So, but I think that when you get in your clients and that initial consult, when you're asking them their goals and what they're trying to do and what they're trying to accomplish, hearing things like, oh, you're a VA buyer? Well, I know the right lender that you need to call. That to me is making the whole process going to be smoother and easier for them. Another one that I think you had mentioned in our notes was when the buyer's having trouble getting their documents to a lender, what do you do? It said the listener mentioned they were not sending the right bank statements.
Okay, so we got a message from a listener that said, my buyer is really struggling to get all these documents to the lender. A few notes on that. First of all, we need to make sure that we are explaining to our buyers that it's not always necessarily the lender that's the issue. They are just following government regulations.
Right.
So I tell my clients when we go under contract, like, look, the first 10 days are a lot. We have inspections. The lender's going to be emailing you like crazy. Yes. They're going to need all these documents. Then it goes to underwriting and they need more documents.
Or the same one again.
It's not because they were negligent. It was because this is just how it happens. So preparing them.
Yeah.
That it's going to get a little dicey here, but then we have this little pause and thing, like letting them know what to expect. Secondly, I had the same, when we got this listener's email, it was so funny because I also had a client that was not sending the appropriate bank statement.
Like, this isn't what they want.
Right. And I thought to myself, this isn't that hard. Why can't my client figure out this bank statement? And it turns out that when you do it in the app versus doing it on a desktop, what the bank gave you was different, a totally different format. So he sent her several different things and it kept getting rejected, very similar to the message we got. So he was like, I'm done. Like, I don't like this lender. And I'm thinking, I need you to stay with this lender. Yeah, like, we're not swapping it. No, and I don't want you going online.
And everyone's going to want your bank statement.
Yeah, we got to figure this out. So if they're struggling, offer to walk them through. Send it to me first. You know, let me look at it and I will make sure it has the account number and appropriate date that the lender was requesting.
Right.
Like, sort of just help be the buffer between the client and the lender when they need it. Sometimes it's an easy peasy loan and it's not that complicated, but it seems lately it's just getting more complicated as more regulations are added, more rules, appraisals, all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So offer to be that person that steps in. I also tell my clients before they go get pre-approved, I have like the list that the certain lenders to, if they have these documents up front, the pre-approval letter's solid.
Okay.
So, hey, when you go meet the lender, just bring your last paycheck. Do you have a W-2 from last year? Like, it may not be the complete set, but I know paycheck and W-2 is so important.
Right.
So anyway, just sort of, so many agents are afraid to give guidance and direction in the lending department.
Yeah.
But the clients appreciate it so much.
They do. They're lost. And it's a lot coming at them all at once.
And before COVID, I was working with a lot of younger people too. I went to so many pre-approval appointments. I went to one this year too that was just like, I went to a few this year, both of which I went because I knew I needed to.
Yeah.
They were very new to this. And when I left the pre-approval appointment, with my client, I was thinking, I am so glad I was there because I really understand. I do this all the time and they don't. Mm-hmm. So I really understand what she meant by what you're pre-approved for versus what you're comfortable with. Yeah. And if you find a house that looks like this, we may need to switch to this type of loan, even though you would ideally like to do FHA.
Right.
So there's just so much to be involved in that's important for us.
Yeah. And you're just, like you said, the buffer, you're facilitating. All of this is like, how do you level up your professionalism to actually assist your client?
Yes.
So it sounds like these are obvious, but I think some of our listeners would be surprised how many agents do not do these things.
I have a listing right now. Everything was going smoothly, and it popped up on my calendar that we close next week. And I'm going, has the appraiser gone?
Oh, no.
Like, we finished inspections, a good bit ago, and the agent was very great and responsive. And so I just sort of, because the inspections went so smoothly and the negotiations, I sort of was just letting that agent do his thing. So I email the lender and I'm like, hey, I just wanted to check. I don't think I got a notification that the appraiser went.
Okay.
And she's like, oh, this client dropped me. This client I'm not doing the loan anymore. And I was like, oh, no. So I call the buyer's agent. He doesn't answer. I text him. I'm like, hey, so-and-so says they're not the lender. What's going on? We close next week. He's like, oh, sorry, meant to tell you. We did switch over to this lender because the rate was better. Thankfully, new lender I did not know, but knew the company they're with. They're local. So I'm like, okay. So I email new lender and copy buyer's agent. Same thing. Hey guys, just checking in. We're supposed to close next week. Can you let me know? Did the appraisal go and forget to schedule? Like, the house is vacant. Lender responds, hey, we're still trying to figure out if I can swing it to let them go FHA, because they did not realize that their down payment was separate from their closing cost and they don't have the funds. I'm like, my response back was, if I hadn't checked in today,
when was someone going to tell me?
When was I going to know we had a problem? And the buyer's agent called me and was like, hey, I had no idea that this was happening. And I'm thinking again, how?
Right.
How did you not know?
Right.
And so I said, I'm about to send you an email written in such a way that you forward to your buyer.
What did you say?
I basically said, if we don't have an update by the end of the day today that the appraisal is ordered, we are not granting an extension.
Yeah, because you're not acting in good faith.
I can't cancel on you.
Right.
I said, but another day cannot pass without progress.
Yeah.
The appraisal must be ordered by 5 o'clock today, or you can send me a cancellation, or we close on time. Like, it has to be ordered.
Okay.
So I'm waiting to hear back. That was this morning.
Oh, today?
But it made me realize.
If you didn't check in. And if
I was too busy making flyers, or if I was too busy doing all these things, going to all these.
You have to serve your current clients.
Before you attend the fun real estate social.
Yeah.
Before you attend the optional mastermind group.
Right.
You must serve your clients before you can do anything else. Like, this has to come first.
Oh, this plays right into my next idea or point.
Hey there, are you looking for ways to save time and money in your business?
Email Templates 101 is the communication system you need to bring ease and efficiency to managing your transactions and clients.
Save time and avoid mistakes, all while providing a high level of service for your buyers and sellers.
In Email Templates 101, you'll get 13 downloadable buyer templates ready for your personal touches.
And 19 downloadable seller templates, plus 6 attachment checklists.
Head over to hustlehumblypodcast.com/courses to get yours today. valuable, consistent weekly seller check-ins.
Yes.
You have to be checking on your buyer's process. You need to be checking on your sellers, especially if their house is just sitting on the market.
Yes.
You better come to them with some information that is helpful. Look, if they're having a ton of showings and no offers, maybe you send them like a little restaurant gift card or a little note or something that's like, hey, I know it's so tough to get out of your house over and over again for showings, but we're having activity. This is good news. Something, but you definitely need to check in and tell them what's going on, or they're going to be like, what happened to them? They put a sign in the yard and they just disappeared.
Yeah, in my busiest times, and of course this depends on the client, right? But when we get feedback from the agent, it gets emailed to us and then we can publish it so it automatically goes to the seller. During my busiest times, I just submit it to the seller, and they know it comes to both of us. Sometimes we talk about it, sometimes we don't.
Yeah.
But I think that especially if it's a listing that you're having trouble thinking of things to say to the seller, it's a good time to just text or call and say, hey, I saw the feedback.
Right.
Wanted to get your thoughts, check on you.
How are you feeling?
How are you feeling?
Okay.
And let them talk.
I love it.
Instead of just being like, well, they got the feedback. Use these opportunities as prompts to reach out to your person and talk to them directly.
And provide service.
Provide service. Yes.
Service. I think it's so important to see yourself as a service provider and not a salesman.
Yes.
This is a crucial distinction if you're going to give a high-touch experience.
Yeah, if you're one of those people that is worried about being a bother, then you have the mindset of a salesman.
Yeah.
If you are not afraid to reach out and have relationship with your clients, you understand that you're providing a service, and it's not only desired, but expected.
It's required.
I expect to hear from you when your sign is in my yard.
Yeah.
What
100%.
you doing over there?
Okay, well, that leads right to the next one. Tell them what you are doing.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you doing an open house? You don't just say, Mr. Seller, I'll be there on Sunday from 2 to 4. Okay, bye. You're going to tell them what you did leading up to all of the steps, and not one of those stupid 180-point list of all the things you're doing. No. I mean, things a seller might actually care about.
Yeah.
So we had on there letting them know that you emailed other agents about the open house, that you shared it at your sales meeting, that maybe you reached out to the other agents that have a property listed nearby and they're going to have one too, whatever.
It could be something as simple as, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I was in the office this morning and someone just listed a house in your neighborhood. I was talking to them about your listing and this is what we talked about. Just wanted to let you know how that conversation went and how it's going for them. They heard from you. But I think we get on autopilot so much that maybe you did maybe at the end of your sales meeting, you announced the house. Did you even tell your seller you did that? It may seem small, or when we get a random internet lead for one of our listings.
Even a sign call.
A sign call.
How would the seller know you handled 3 sign calls this week?
Right.
Even if they didn't pan out, you need to let them know that people are calling you and you were talking to them about their property.
Yes, because I think this is where people could opt to go for sale by owner.
Yeah.
Because then they know how many calls they're getting, how many website inquiries they're getting.
Right.
It's almost like the second you hang up with a sign call, even if the call really went nowhere.
Yeah.
Hey, just wanted to let you know I received a phone call from the sign. It is out of the budget they were looking for, but I gave them all the information on the house. It's just unfortunately out of their price range.
Yeah.
I'll keep you posted.
And it's just another time that you're talking to your seller.
The more
you can't talk to them too much.
No, you cannot overtalk to a seller.
They'll just be like, okay, great, thanks. I hear, because that's like you opening the door and saying, I'm here.
Yes.
I didn't leave. I didn't hang you out to dry.
Yep.
I'm here. I'm here. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about a handwritten note.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost much, although postage apparently goes up every time you go to the post office. I think it's in the 60s now, 60 cents, but whatevs. It's worth it for the card and the postage. When do you send a handwritten note? When do these come up in your business?
Definitely after I leave a listing appointment.
Always, always.
Whether or not it was an interview or a slam dunk, I know I got it because I've known them forever. Whether or not it's my cousin.
Yeah.
They're getting a handwritten note.
Agree.
After.
That's my non-negotiable one for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like you could just keep them in your glove box.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah. I know that you send some to the people who come with your buyers to their inspection. Those are like your post-closing thank yous. But I think those still count as a high touch.
Absolutely.
Who would think, as the mom of someone who just bought a house, wait, the realtor sent me a note?
Yeah.
I feel like so seen and validated and special, right? Because they wanted to be a part of that process. And you're like, hey, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for being a part of that process. There's so many different times you can send a handwritten note. I think it's great to send one to another agent if something's going on, to your seller if you're going through something, to your buyers as you're looking, hey, I haven't forgotten about you. I know the inventory's tight for what you want, you know, whatever.
They make a lot of really cute papyrus, like cards that have a house on them.
Yeah,
they make a lot of really cute house stationery.
Yeah.
And I like that idea, just being like, hey, I saw this card. It made me think of you. I know we haven't found your house yet.
Yeah.
But I wanted to pop in and let you know we will find it.
Right. And that's like, oh my gosh, they're still there. It's not just crickets because there's no houses available. It's like, hey, they're thinking about me.
And I think this would be a good time to switch over to buyer communication. We have talked a lot about high touch ideas with your seller, especially if the house isn't selling. So I do, as we've talked about before, I do not like to have listings automatically sent to my buyers immediately.
Right.
In the beginning, I get their search as fine-tuned as I can, and then I send it to me with their name in the subject line, and that is my prompt to check in with those buyers.
Yeah.
So I'll check in with those buyers and say, hey, this house just came through. What do you think about this neighborhood? I wasn't sure what you thought about this type of garage. Or you could say, hey, this house came through. I don't think it's what you're looking for, but I'm going to continue tweaking the criteria I have set up. Don't forget to send me anything that catches your eye as well.
Okay.
Once we get to a point where I am confident that the search I have set up is not just sending a bunch of junk, I copy them on it as well. So it does become automatic.
Okay.
I'm thinking,
how long does that typically take?
I can usually tell within a week or two.
Oh.
But if it's emailing me 7 times a day, I don't want to be emailed 7 times a day, especially when it's a bunch of junk.
So you're like, this isn't right.
Right. So then I have to go in and sort of figure out, sometimes I have this one client in particular. I know if the house is below $150 a square foot, it's going to need a lot of work.
Okay.
For the parameters they're looking for.
Got it.
So it kept sending me things that on paper were the right size and location and but just not right. So I made it to where it didn't send me any houses below $150 a square foot.
Fancy.
Yeah, because the majority, every time they sent me a house, it was like 180 a square foot, 190, 200.
That's what okay.
So even 170 could have been too low.
But 150 was way low.
150 was like, I don't even want to see this.
Fascinating.
So once I filtered that, it really only sent me like 2 or 3 houses a week.
And
that
then you turned it on to them.
Yes.
Okay, makes sense.
And then it shows that all 3 of us are getting this email.
Yeah, so they know you're looking at it.
And sometimes I'll just respond to that email. That's like, hey, what do y'all think of this one? Or not. Like if it's, they know that it's coming to all 3 of us. But what I have heard too many times from buyers that fired their buyer's agent because they were just set up
sending me a bunch of garbage.
Kind of automatic thing. And then I guess the realtor's just waiting for us to be like, okay, well, can we go see this one?
Yeah.
Like, what if we say this? Or if you're having trouble finding what they're looking for and you have the time, search through expireds.
Yeah, that was on here.
Yeah.
And send out a letter or send out letters to the subdivision they are kind of zoned in on. So, yeah, you're right. If you have some time, there's a definite extra service to be provided there.
A lot of extra service. Yeah. And see, when we get into talking about this type of stuff, this is just proactive, a little bit time consuming. These are the things that I wish I was had weekly time for.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know, I was excited to do this episode because it's kind of motivating me to be what does not need to be happening so that I can do these really important things.
Right. What can you eliminate?
Yeah. I had a client email me recently a house that is not on the market. And she was like, okay, I don't know if this is weird, but could you just write them a letter?
Sure.
I have always loved this house. And, so what I did is I actually handwrote them a letter.
Mm-hmm.
I printed my client's email and put it in the envelope. I said, this is a real letter. I'm not a We Buy Houses person. They specifically asked me to send it to your address. So I said, I even attached her email and I just sort of cut it out so it didn't have all of our stuff on it. I said, if you decide that you ever want to move,
Did they respond?
Yes.
What did they say?
So he emailed me back. So I put my business card in there.
Okay.
So he had my email. This seller emailed me back and was like, that was so flattering. Thank you so much for the kind letter. Unfortunately for your buyer, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But he was like, I would love to show you what I've done with the place. He sent me before and after pictures
of his.
Cute. We're friends now.
Of course you are.
Me and this owner of this property but these are the type of things where I go, you never know what's going to come from this.
No. Well, he might be like, hey, the next door neighbor might want to sell their house.
Yeah. What if in 25 years?
He's like, hey, remember that time you sent me that letter?
Yeah, I'm going to a nursing home now, but I'm ready to sell my house.
What I find funniest about this story is that you're actively selling real estate in 25 years.
Maybe.
I mean, it could be. Oh my God, I'm cracking up. All right. So I love that. And I wanted to just say that giving that luxury experience is more about thoughtfulness.
Yes.
So you have to be thoughtful about your clients. You have to listen, be a good listener. What are they talking about? What are their, what's going on with their family, their kids, their life? It's not about you. It's never about you. It's always about them. But it's how can you listen better? How can you show up with some thoughtfulness? I know you have sent out someone to mow the grass or to do this or that or whatever. It really, you have to pay attention.
Yeah. And I would like to say too that the reason I can send my house cleaner to surprise a seller, the reason I can send the lawn guy to surprise a seller or buyer moving in, I can do these things because I am not spending any money on really anything else.
You don't have a billboard to pay for. You don't have a park bench. You don't have
I'm not in any
some
magazines.
Big mailers.
I'm not doing the only things I sponsor is our office secretary's kids ballet program.
Right.
And I have several clients too. Every year I sponsor the Cubs football program.
That's cute. I love
it's $150 and it means so much to them. So it's keep yourself available.
Yeah.
To give back to your clients in your sphere when they need something.
Talk about sending meals. Who do you send meals to? Give me an example.
So I always like the Waiter app because you just enter their address and their name. Sometimes I'll send a meal. Well, I like to just, when I'm scrolling Facebook, if someone's all the kids are sick, pray for us,
Right.
It's surprise, here's a meal,
Do you ask them before you send it?
I do because I definitely want to make sure they're home.
Yeah.
So but I don't ask. I say,
I'm sending food.
Hey, I'm sending y'all Mexican tonight, just a smorgasbord of stuff.
Yeah.
Are y'all going to be home? It'll be there at 5:00.
Yeah.
I won't have ordered it yet.
Yeah.
But when they say, oh my gosh, yes, then it's just get quesadillas and fajitas.
Yeah.
And let everybody mix it up. Always throw in a dessert, something sweet.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, always a dessert.
Always a dessert.
Always a dessert. But really just, anybody that you think could benefit from that. You know what I've been doing?
What?
Even more, especially lately, people are having babies all over the place.
Your clients.
Yeah, or not clients yet.
Okay.
So when I was in the hospital with Haven after she was born, somebody sent me a cookie bouquet.
Okay.
And it was like, it's a girl. It had Haven's name on one of the cookies. I ate all the cookies.
You did? They were good?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
They were so good. And I was in the hospital.
You're like, give me a cookie.
I'm like starving as I'm like nursing this child. I'm exhausted. Like, I just want cookies, you know?
Sounds good.
I will never forget those cookies. So when I see somebody had a baby.
You send the cookies?
I send them cookies.
The same ones?
The same, yes. Cookies by Design has
your order ready?
My order ready. They know, like, if it's a boy, if it's a girl, we always put the baby's name on a cookie. But also, like, okay, so I became friends with one of the moms of a kid in Tate's class.
Okay.
I met her. She's so sweet. The last time I saw her, she was, like, about to pop.
Okay.
I'm like, you are due any moment now. And Tate and Ellie have become, like, such sweet little friends.
Okay.
So the baby was born.
Mm-hmm.
She has a brother now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, they need cookies. Okay. So the cookie bouquet people put, baby brother, whatever his name is.
Okay.
And then big sister Ellie gets
fresh.
a pink cookie stuck in the blue bouquet.
Okay, that's so cute.
And then it just gets delivered.
Oh my gosh.
And
precious.
I usually send it like the week after they're home. Like I wait
into
a week.
their house.
Into their house. Because I have their address.
That was my next logistical question. I'm like, are you getting their hospital room? Like what's happening here?
No.
You're not that tight with these people.
No. And it's like, what if they got released early? Or what if they don't have to
You're sending
stay?
it to their house.
I'm waiting about a week. I screenshot their Facebook announcement. And I email it to myself.
Okay.
And then I schedule when it needs to be delivered. So it's so easy.
You are just the most efficient action taker.
Well, you have to do it then.
Right? You can't wait.
If you don't do it, if something sounds like a good idea,
just do it.
I just email it to myself or do it immediately.
Got it.
Because one, I'm going to have to get it out of my inbox. Okay. I'm not going to delete it without doing it.
No.
So it's like this needs to happen or not.
Okay.
And you have to act quickly.
Are there any other high touches before we move into the actual gifts topic?
I'm sure there's so many.
There's a bajillion. I think it's, again, like everything else, high touch is about mindset.
Yeah.
How can you provide service? How can you listen and be thoughtful? How can you make the experience better for the people who are working with you?
Like, hey, I'm working at a coffee shop before I come to the home inspection. Do you want me to bring you a coffee?
Yeah.
Like how Chelsea Peterson puts homeowner on the coffee cup, cute. Has them write that instead of the name.
You told the story about the tickets, right?
Tickets.
Like the football tickets. Like I have extra 2 tickets.
Oh, yes,
like how many?
Yes.
And you're like, text the first person like, oh, sorry, we can't go. And then you text the person, oh, that's so nice, but we can't go. And the third, how many times did you give the tickets?
Right. You gave the tickets away 5 times.
Right.
Even though only one person accepted them. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
And these things don't always cost money.
No.
Like cookies are fairly inexpensive.
Right.
It's more just about checking on people.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, let's do closing gifts.
Okay.
What is your stance on a closing gift? What is your philosophy? Do you have one?
I have a love-hate relationship with them.
Okay.
But I do them majority of the time.
Agree. My philosophy is that good service is your gift to the client, first of all.
Yes.
You do not have to show up with a giant $300 basket of all their favorite things or every hand towel for the whole house.
Right.
At closing, I just do not feel like that is a requirement of the service that you are providing. Does that mean I do not give a gift? No, but I keep it kind of minimal. For my buyers, for a long time, I have done the return address stamp. It is the personalized one so that they get a code inside of the stamp. It's there. It's the actual stamp. They get the code. They go to the website. They pick out what they want their return address to look like. It comes in the mail to them. They pop it into the stamp. There you go.
Perfect.
Okay, lovely. That works great for buyers who are going to live in their home.
Do you want to share where that link is? Because we're about to get a lot of emails.
I'm going to tell you, I used to get it I'll put the link in the show notes. I used to get it at Amazon, $20, easy peasy. It is never on Amazon anymore.
Okay.
So very kindly, Erin O'Brien, one of our listeners, turned me on to Mason Rowe. For my YouTube people, I'm showing you what the actual box looks like.
We are not affiliated and do not get any commission.
I don't know
from
anything
this
about
stamp.
Mason Rowe other than they send a nice gift pack. It's the same vibes. It's got the stamp in there. It's got a code in there. You go online, you get it how you want it. They send you the new like little die.
That's nice.
Whatever plate. There's an extra ink. This one was, I think, $30. Okay. I'll put a link to Mason Rowe. Sorry. The other place I used to get them was Remarks.
Yeah.
They just don't carry them all the time or anymore. I don't know. All right. So that's the deal with the stamp. Would I give the stamp to the seller? Maybe, only if they were buying a house that was new to them that they were going to live in.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
If
it has to make sense.
They've already moved somewhere. They've been there a while. I don't need to give everyone a stamp. It just doesn't. And more often than not, I would give the buyer a gift more than the seller a gift.
Yeah.
I'm like the seller. Now it's sort of a different mindset. Remember, back then it was like the seller hired me. They agreed to pay me. The buyer more kind of like just had me and the seller paid me, right?
Yes, now everyone's paying.
Everyone's paying everyone. Like, maybe it's a different thought. Other ideas on buyers I know I've seen you do like a watercolor of the house.
Yeah.
Or, that's probably more also on the seller side if they're more emotional about it.
I enjoy more too, like depending on how big the house is, how dirty the house is, saying at the closing table, I'll be like, hey, my cleaner's actually there right now cleaning.
Yeah.
Like I'll ask the listing agent, hey, do you mind if my cleaning lady starts at 9 a.m.?
Yeah, like that's super impactful.
Yeah, they're like, what? I was going to clean all weekend.
Yeah, and you've had painters go paint a room.
I did. That was a special.
That was so sweet.
Yeah, that was very specific because she was like, the nursery is being painted this color. It's happening. And her husband's like, oh, I don't want to paint, and she's like, it's happening. Get over it.
Yeah, you're going to have to do it. I like that one for a buyer. If you have an investor buyer, I've bought professional photos for them to use like in the rental going forward. I had a buyer that was going to paint, but I just bought them like a paintbrush and a gift card to Sherwin-Williams.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, I think $50 is more than enough. The IRS actually, I don't know what the rule is now, but for a long time they only let you write off $25.
Yeah.
And then that's how realtors started putting their frickin' logo on everything that was a closing gift because that's a promotional item and you can write it off. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, y'all. I'll take the hit on whatever extra money I spend over the write-off amount. I'm not giving every one of my clients personalized everything.
No.
I just don't like the way that feels to me.
Yeah.
I want them to have something they like and will use, but it doesn't matter to me if they see Katie Caldwell, realtor, all the time.
Right.
Right? So you do you. I have also seen like the Christmas ornaments that are more like standard, like new home in the year. So you can get them for every buyer that you had that year. You can drop them off more like a pop by at Christmas.
That'd be cute.
That's super cute. So that's a nice thing to do. And then if your buyer is purchasing a home with something that they are super excited about, like I had a buyer that was buying a house with a basketball court in the backyard. They had kids. So I bought them a couple of basketballs.
That's perfect.
They were there in the house after they closed. She said her husband immediately went in the backyard and started playing because the ball was there. If they're getting a pool, they've never had a pool before. What about a pool float? Like, these things are not expensive, but they are more thoughtful.
How cute would that be to walk into closing with like pool noodles?
So cute.
That's fun.
Yeah. So, and especially if there's kids involved, like what's going to be fun for them what are they excited about with the house? So I think that just being mindful of all of that, if you've got an investor buying, like I said, I did the photos, but are they making changes? Do they need a Lowe's gift card, a Home Depot? I think gift cards are just not as personal.
Yeah.
But it'll work in a pinch if you need it. Again, no buyer or seller has ever given me a bad review because I didn't give them a fancy gift.
No.
And we have had listeners write in and say, well, I'm wanting to really up my closing gift, but then I'm worried about my old clients seeing what I'm doing now and like, how do I handle this?
Yeah.
And I'm like, First of all, we believe that everyone sees what we do. They don't. But if you're changing something, you can always say to someone, as if anyone would ever say anything. But
where's my gift?
If they did, just like, hey, I know it's so great I'm implementing something new in my business. I can't wait to work with you again so you can get that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it just doesn't have to be that big of a deal.
No. I had one time that was super excited to have a flagpole.
Oh, really?
So I got them a big American flag.
That's so cute.
At closing.
You know, Commerce gives an American flag to the first-time buyers.
Yeah.
I guess it's like, you know,
and
the American dream. Yeah, it's so cute. Okay, those are all good for buyers. Let's talk about sellers a little bit.
Okay.
Are you still doing the photo book?
Yes. So I take their professional pictures and I put them in a nice book so that they can remember. I actually had one recently where I was the second agent, and the first agent had the photos from
when it was furnished.
When it was furnished.
Okay.
My photos were of the house vacant. Both looked good. So I just saved the MLS photos from the previous listing agent to my computer. They did have the little MLS thing on them.
You needed to Photoshop, but that's okay.
I kind of cropped a little bit.
That's fine.
It wasn't super noticeable. But I put them at the end.
Oh, okay.
So I told her, be sure to get to the end. And then she was like, look at Emily's room.
Okay, so
remember her bed like that? It was just
I did the same thing with a client. I made the photo book. I used their listing photos. Their stuff was still in it, so it was great because they could see what it looked like. But I went to their Facebook and stole some photos of them like on the porch. They had done a photo shoot of themselves professional photos when they bought the house. Not with me. They bought it with someone else. So I went and stole a couple of those photos, a picture of their dog in the house, like things that were very clearly in the house.
Yes.
And added a few of those into the book.
That's cute.
It was so cute. Now, you get your photo book at Shutterfly still?
Yeah, I use Shutterfly. Okay. But there's a lot of good options out there.
Yeah, I have used Google Photos.
Okay.
It comes very nicely in a little sleeve. It was quick. It's good quality. I have heard that the Canva printing is really good and affordable.
Oh, do they do books?
Yeah.
Cool.
You can do it straight on Canva. So there's a bunch of different places you can get a quick book. And I mean, what, $30, $40? It's not that much.
It's like sometimes a really great idea just happens in the transaction.
Yes.
But you have to be looking.
And listening.
Like you have to be looking and listening for that opportunity of what's important.
Yeah.
I have the best ideas the more time I spend with these people.
Because you know them better.
Right. I'm hearing them. I'm getting to know them. So the closing gifts, sometimes the closing gifts are personal, but I'm not going to force it.
No.
I know that there's some that are like, I want to think of the most perfect special closing gift for every individual client.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like,
well, there are agents that are spending days on a closing gift.
Yes.
They're going to all these different places, getting a basket and sourcing this and that. And look, I'm sure it's lovely and your clients are thankful. But is that what's required of you? Like, are you feeling pressure to do that because you see other agents doing it? I just think that you can be thoughtful quicker, and more efficiently. You're the most efficient, thoughtful person.
I don't know about that.
Here's the waiter. Here's my grass guy's going over.
I like I'm good at executing.
I think that's great.
I don't always have the best ideas, but when I get an idea, I can make it happen.
I love that.
One more example for a buyer.
Please.
I was showing in this house that they were buying, there was this painting of like a bird or something in this certain spot.
Okay.
And she just kept being like, I just love this painting. And it's like perfect for this spot. Like, I love this. So after inspections and everything, I emailed the agent and was like, hey, because I took a picture of it. Can you ask your seller how much they would want for this painting to stay? My client loves it. I was thinking about like doing it as like a closing gift. And she was like, oh, he said he paid like $35 for it.
Shut up.
I was like, would you mind asking if it can stay? And I'll just Venmo him at closing. And he was like, sure. And they said, sure. So when we went to our final walkthrough.
Wait, did you pay $35?
I paid $35 for it.
Stop it.
It wasn't huge. It was like a little like 8x8 square in this little spot in the kitchen.
This is precious.
So we get to the final walkthrough. I'm so excited. The house is totally empty. And we're walking through like, yeah, it looks fine. The bird painting is here. I said, that is my closing gift to you. I reached out to the seller and bought it for you. They don't need to know it's $35.
It didn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Because it was thoughtful.
They don't care if it was $5 or $100. They liked the painting there.
Yeah. That's such a good example.
Easy.
So easy.
It's just
so easy. I love that. Let's do a couple more seller ones. I like the watercolor painting. I've done this just a handful of times. If they're really attached to their house, if it is kind of a cute like curb appeal, I'm not going to do it on just every single listing. Recently, I had a first-time seller who had gotten married and was selling the house that she owned on her own, was so proud of, loved it so much, just thought she was going to live there for a long time. I got the hand paint and you turned me on to someone locally to hand paint the ornament. It was so pretty.
So cute.
It was so pretty. And so I think also your closing gifts are an opportunity for you to reach out to local businesses and support them as well. So the ornament was super cute. It had her home on it. It was great, very well received. People like to give sometimes some champagne. If you're celebrating as a seller, sure, fine. I think like a restaurant gift card is if you just feel like you're obligated to give a gift. I want to talk about having a system though, especially with the return address stamps. Yeah. I keep a handful in my closet, my office closet. I keep the wrapping. I get, like a brand colored tissue, a bag that they fit in. I have it ready to go so that if I'm running out on my closing and I'm like, oh, it's there already.
Yeah, that's
a
great point.
It's just already prepped and ready to go. It is sort of my go-to. And when you think about lenders have this a lot because theirs is all promotional usually.
Yeah.
But they'll have like all these things that are in the office. We just fill up the bag and we go to the closing. Kind of the same principle, but have a process in place so that closing gifts aren't taking you days or hours or whatever.
Yeah, you're a good prepper.
I try to prep. And the last thing I wanted to share, I'll show it for our YouTube friends. This is my pre-listing or listing gift. So
that's so cute.
I don't love a seller gift at closing. I feel like you provided the service they hired you for. I don't know why. That's how it feels to me logically. This little doodad is perfect for when they're going to list. Okay. So I'm going to just walk people through what's in it if you're not on YouTube. There is the home showing checklist. It is laminated.
That is perfect. Yeah.
There is a dry erase marker so they can just check off on here every time they get ready for a showing, wipe it clean, start again.
That's awesome.
So they don't forget how to get ready for their showing. It sort of serves you and serves them, right?
Help me, help you.
Help me, help you. I have Old English scratch cover in here because I have never met a cabinet or a piece of furniture, even if it's one they're keeping, that can't be helped with some Old English scratch cover. There is the icky stick, y'all. If you don't know, you can go on Amazon and just type scouring stick, I guess, or icky stick. It's a handle. It's a pumice stone. All those rings on your toilet, they will go away with this.
Oh, okay.
It's quite interesting. I have house wine just because I wanted to get something cute to stick in there. Magic erasers.
That's cute. You need to share this.
All right, take out the house wine. Yeah. Magic erasers.
You know, we sell houses.
Yeah, it's real cute.
It says house.
House wine. Yeah, you got it. Magic eraser, because they're going to need that to prepare. But you can also throw in packing supplies. I don't know if necessarily boxes, but you can never have enough packing paper.
This jar is cute. You could have a moving box.
Yes, you could put it in the box.
And be like, and then you can use this box to hide your toothpaste every showing.
Tape and markers and packing paper and boxes. And specifically, I like that you said that. I say if I had this one in a vase because I cut a leaf from my yard and I put it in the back of this vase so that they can actually use the vase in the showing.
For staging.
Right, for staging. Now, you could also get a nice basket if you don't want to do the moving box, and it could be their go basket. Like, hey, this is where you throw all of your prescription meds and your small electronics and your jewelry when you're running out the door or your dog bowls or whatever.
Right. Just put it in a basket, throw it in the car, and when you come home, grab your basket.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things you can throw in that would help them during the listing.
Yes.
Here is a restaurant gift card for around the corner for that late night showing that you weren't expecting, and now you got to get out and it's dinner time.
A good candle.
I do put a candle.
Or a wallflower with the scent.
Something that smells good.
That's good for the showing.
Yep.
I like that.
Anything you would need. I feel like it's more useful. You're basically giving them something you want them to use to make the listing sell.
Right.
That's my last thing.
That was amazing.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad that was valuable.
Also, a few other easy things is if you have like an email list, okay, and you have them on there by past clients or not, emailing and saying, like after a hurricane or after a natural disaster or after a storm, just being like, hey, just wanted to check on everybody. How's everybody doing? Do you need recommendations for anything? I've attached my vendor list if you need help.
Oh, that's very good.
Just easy little things.
Also, email templates in and of themselves are high touch.
Oh my gosh.
They're giving them all the information that they need. Communication. Communication is high touch.
Yeah.
This was delightful.
Don't you just want to go be a really good agent?
Just want to go out there and like find another client and treat them so well and listen to them, provide them excellent service.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
That's when I love real estate.
I know.
I dislike it when I'm in the weeds and feeling like I've dropped the ball on checking in before they reach out to me.
Yeah, this is the fun part.
This is the fun part.
This is the fun part.
This is why if I could get rid of everything else in my professional life and just do this at this point.
Yeah.
I would be the happiest I could be, I think.
What do they call? Yeah, for sure. What do they call those at companies? Like a customer relationship manager?
Yes. Like this is my only job.
This is all I do is make is like, wow.
Yeah.
Gary Vee is always talking about like surprise and delight. So look at it that way. What is the way you can surprise and delight your clients? What are they not expecting?
Surprise and delight.
Yeah. Do you have a minute? I'll tell you a really good story he tells.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Gary Vee is known for being like one of the early adopters of Twitter, and just it was when he had when he worked at his dad's wine store. Okay, he would get on Twitter, and anyone that said anything about wine, he would comment. He became very well known with anyone who knew anything about social media because he was so active on Twitter. Okay, so he's helping his dad grow the wine business. He tells the people working at this is, I guess, after a while, working in their office admin of marketing of this wine shop, hey, I want you to go on Twitter and, find the people that have bought wine through us because he basically starts up this online wine business. If they've bought wine from us, I don't care how much it was, just go like the last people, go to Twitter, find something they've said, and then I want you to like tell me like what you find. So they come back to him, the people from his actual office, and they're like, hey, we found this guy. He bought a case of this, cheap wine. He's in, I don't remember what city, but he keeps talking about hockey and this team and this like whatever player that he loves. That's all he ever talks about on Twitter. So Gary's like, okay, go to eBay, order a signed jersey from that player and ship it to the guy because they obviously have his address because he bought this wine.
Yeah.
It was like a $300 or $400 jersey. He had bought far less in wine. They send it. Gary is like so excited because he's waiting basically for this guy to go on Twitter and like tag them and be like, Wine Library sent me a jersey. Like so excited. A couple of weeks go by, crickets. Gary's like, man, I really thought that was going to play. Like I thought he was going to be so excited. Then all of a sudden he gets like this 911 text from his marketing guy who like works in the like in their actual business. And he's like, hey, I need to talk to you right now. And he's like, okay, what's up? And he's like, well, we just got an order from a guy in a totally different state. I believe the original guy was in Chicago.
Okay.
This guy was like in Texas or something. We got an order for like thousands of dollars of wine. The guy put in his comment section, hey, my friend is Bill and you sent him a jersey. I just wanted to let you know that I love whatever player.
Oh my gosh.
And he bought all this wine. It was his first time being a customer. He bought it because they had given the jersey to the guy that bought the cheap case of wine.
Who never posted.
Who didn't actually post, but obviously told everyone.
Yeah.
So it's just, that's surprise and delight. Yes. Like you don't have to do it to everyone, but like, can you do something that is just so stand out that your clients would be like, I can't not tell people about this.
I also think that mindset is what keeps me going. There's so many agents that say, I did all this, and they didn't even say thank you. My brain always thinks like, I wonder how many years until this comes back.
Exactly.
I'm very confident in the seeds I'm planting.
Right.
Because they will grow.
100%.
And it goes back to real estate is a long game.
Such a long game.
You never know when you're going to get a random phone call from someone that's like, hey, 8 years ago, I came with you on a showing because you were helping my daughter buy a house and you wrote me a letter after.
You're like, no.
I need to sell my house and I'm a millionaire.
Yeah, right. Like, here's my luxury property.
Like, that's what I love about real estate is that
you don't know which connection will take you where.
Yes.
And which behavior that you did be the most standout for that client.
It keeps me going. It's exciting.
Yeah, because you could do anything.
Yeah.
And it could return.
Yeah.
And it feels good to do it.
And when you're so focused looking for what returns, you totally forget about the things that don't.
It comes across, though, when it's all contrived and it seems like we're trying to get something out of it. Like your intention, no matter what you do in life, your intention always shines through.
Yeah, people know.
They know.
What you're giving from.
They know.
And serving from.
I love it. This was so delightful.
I know, I really enjoyed
What a wonderful topic.
Good one.
Okay, and I think Gary actually has a whole book that is, maybe it's jab, 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 right hook, that he talks about this.
Okay.
If anyone's interested. He talks about it all the time.
Okay.
Surprise and delight.
Surprise.
Go out there and surprise and delight someone.
That's great.
Let's listen to a toast.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Hi, this is Candace Dunn with John L. Scott from Beaverton, Oregon, and I am toasting Cindy Thackeray and Rochelle Newmeyer today of the Women's Council of Realtors in Oregon. They have just been such a blessing to me in my life and have been so wonderful and encouraging and supporting as I join the Women's Council of Realtors. And I'm so excited for what's going to come and the growth that will happen in 2024. Cheers.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Humbly podcast.
If you enjoyed this episode, please go to ratethispodcast.com/hustlehumbly and leave us a review or drop a comment if you're listening on Spotify.
If you have an episode topic or someone you'd like to toast on the show, please email us at team@hustlehumblypodcast.com.
Find us on social media at Hustle Humbly Podcast. Don't forget to find all of the free resources at hustlehumblypodcast.com/resources.
See you next week.